This video talks about the surface area of pyramids. So the surface area is whenever we take all of the sides of a pyramid and find the area of each single one. So we need to know a few things before we actually dive into the 3D shape. This 3D shape is made up of 2D shapes, and we have to know the area of them. So we need to know the area of squares and rectangles. So to find the area of a square and a rectangle, I'm going to take my length times my width. So pretty much I'm going to take my two sides of my shape and I'm going to multiply them together. I also need to take, or I also will need to find the area of triangles. So the area of triangles is important because all of these sides that make up the pyramid are actual triangles. So I'm going to use the formula 1/2 times the base times the height. Or if you're not the greatest person with the fraction out in front, you can still take your base times your height and then just divide it by 2. So either one of these equations work, and on your note sheet you can write whichever one you want to put. So let's dive in. So we have a pyramid. We're going to break this pyramid down into the 2D shapes so I can find the area of those 2D shapes. In order to do that, I'm going to take this 3D shape and I'm going to unfold it to create a net. So the shape of my base is a square. So I'm going to show that I have a square right in the middle. And then when I unfold that 3D shape, I'm going to have 4 triangles that go off of each of those sides. So my 3D shape can be flattened out to show this 2D net. Now from here, I'm going to take all of my information from my 3D picture and I'm going to lay it out on my 2D net. So my square, I can see, is a 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters. So on my net, I'm going to color code it the same way. And if you want to color code your notes, you can get some colors as well. So I know that my square is a 30 by 30, so all of these sides would be 30. And since I'm dealing with a square, that means all of my triangles on each of the sides are going to be the same as well. So this triangle has a base of 30, and then it also has a height of 40. So I'm going to show that this triangle would be the same as all of these. So I'm just going to color code all of these triangles the same. So when I actually do my math later, it's going to be a little bit easier. So I know that all of these triangles have a height of 40 centimeters. There's a typo. I need to see. So when I have my net made, I am able to kind of break it down, and I'm going to find the area of my triangles, and I'm going to find my area of the square. So my area of my triangles, since this is a square, all of my triangles are the exact same. So if I find the area of 1, I can multiply it by 4, and it just makes my life easier. So the area of a triangle, again, is 1/2 times base times height. So I'm just going to write that out really fast. I know that I have my 1/2. My base talks about my base of my triangle. So my base of my triangle is 30. My height of my triangle is 40. So I can use a calculator. I can multiply all those out. I know that 30 times 40 would be 1200 times 1/2 would be 600. So I know that the area of that triangle is going to be 600 centimeters squared, because anytime I'm dealing with centimeters or area, I'm dealing with squared. So since I have 4 of these triangles, I'm going to take this number and I'm going to multiply it by 4 to show that I have 4 of those triangles. So I have a total of 2,400 centimeters squared just in the 4 sides alone. So now I'm going to find the area of my square, the area of the base. My square is can be found by taking my length times my width. I know that my length is 30 and my width is 30. Since it's a square, it's the same side lengths. And then 30 times 30 in my calculator is going to be 900 centimeters, and then squared, because anytime that I'm dealing with area, I have to deal with squared. So I know that the surface area of my triangles is this number, my square is this number. So my final step that I have to do is I'm going to add them up. So when I add them up, I know that 2,400 plus my 900 is going to equal my total surface area of 3,300 centimeters. And since I'm dealing with area, I have to put the little 2 as my exponent. All right, we're going to do another example. My other example doesn't have a square as the base. It has a rectangle base. So when it has a rectangle base, it's the same idea, but my picture is going to look a little bit different. It's going to actually show that in the center of my net, I have a true rectangle. Then off of that rectangle, I'm going to have 4 triangles, but now they have to actually match the sides that I'm dealing with. So I have these 2 bigger triangles, and then I have these longer, skinnier triangles. Still, when I fold it up, it's still going to be something that is going to be similar to that. So on this pyramid, I still have a base. This base just so happens to be a rectangle, so I can see it in my 3D shape, and then I can also highlight it in my 2D net. After I highlight that, I can see that my long side is 9, my short side is 6. So I'm going to label all of those. From there, I can see that I have 2 different sizes of triangles. So I'm going to use 2 different colors. I have one size that goes with the base of my longer side of my rectangle, which is 9. So when I look at my rectangle, my side of 9, I'm talking about these triangles right here. So these 2 triangles match up with the ones that I just highlighted. And in my 3D shape, I can see that these orange triangles are going to have a height of 12.8. So I'm going to label that. So 12.8 and 12.8. Then I have my other side, which is my shorter side of my rectangle. My short side of my rectangle is a side of 6. And that side of 6 has these 2 smaller two smaller triangles off to the side. And this side, or the height of these skinnier triangles, are going to be 13.22. So as you can see, from a rectangular base, we have a little bit more complicated work that we have to do. So now we have, instead of the 4 same triangles, we have 2 triangles that match, the other 2 that match, and then we also have this rectangle that we have to figure out all of the areas of. So we're going to work on the area of the triangles first. So like I said, I have 2 different triangles. I have an orange triangle, which deals with my one size, and then I have a green triangle that deals with another size. If you highlighted, you can use those colors. If not, we'll just use the numbers that we see on the picture. So my orange triangle deal with the bigger triangles, so I'm going to have 1/2 times my base, which is 9, times my height, which is 12.8. When I multiply all of this in a calculator, I'm going to get 57.6. But this is just the area of one triangle. So this is 57.6. That means I have to have this as 57.6 since they match. So I'm going to multiply this by 2 triangles. And it's going to equal a total of 115.2 meters squared. So now I'm going to do this same idea with my other size of my triangle. My other size has a base of 6. So I'll have 1/2 times my base, which is 6, times my height, which is 13.22. When I multiply these all together, it's going to be 39.22. So, sorry, 39.66. I was looking at the wrong number. And then this deals with one triangle, right? I have another triangle over here. So this is also 39.66. So I'm going to multiply it by 2 triangles. So I have a total of 79.32 meters squared for my other triangles. So all of my triangles are taken care of. I have my orange ones, which are this total. I have my green ones, which are this total. So I have all of my triangles accounted for. Now I just have to figure out my area of my rectangle. My area of my rectangle, remember that is length times width. So that is 9 times 6. And that is going to be 54 meters squared. So when I have all of my shapes accounted for, my last step is to take every single area that I've done and I'm going to add them up. So I have my 115.2, my 79.32. So I have those account for my triangles. And now I also have my 54. When I add all 3 of these numbers, all of my shapes together, that is going to be 248.52 meters squared.